This is Education Sector Television International ASTV. It is a lovely evening. The weather is quite soothing. And on this note, I welcome you to another edition of One Citizen of Greater Values. Today, I have beside me a woman who is an authority in the taxation business. She is well-read, a well-put-together personality, and a past president, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Do join me to welcome Professor Olateju Somorin. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Education TV.
Good to have you today, ma'am. It's been a while.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. And the weather is quite comforting.
In fact, it is. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the honor.
Yeah,
So let's start this way. Probably I've not introduced you fully. Who is Professor Olateju Somorin?
I will answer that question. It will take us quite some time. I'm Professor Olateju Somorin. I was born a couple of years ago, exactly 1950. Pertaining to my educational achievements, apart from having the first degree, which was in English language from the University of Lagos, I have other degrees. MTax. MTax is Masters in Tax Administration. I happen to be the first Nigerian to have MTax, which I obtained from the University of Paris for doctorate in the year 1982. Thereafter, I also have a certificate in speech writing. That's from the University of Speech Writing. So I was able to use that in writing speeches for the Chairman of Finance and for the Minister of Finance. I went to the Nigerian College of Accountants. I have a diploma in accountancy from the Nigerian College of Accountants. So I became a member of ANAM. ANAM is Association of National Accountants of Nigeria. I'm actually a fellow of that body. I also have a second master's degree in MPA. MPA is in public administration. Master's in public administration. I did that one. I also have Doctor of Letters in the Nigerian tax system, as well as a PhD in taxation and fiscal policy. I joined the Land Revenue Service immediately after my service. I joined the Land Revenue Service as an inspector of taxes. That is the lowest grade for a university degree holder to work in the FRS that time, inspector of taxes. So in 1976, I started from there, and I was able to move up to the last step of that career. And because I retired as a group director or coordinating director. A coordinating director usually have some directors reporting on them. So during my time, I had
Which institution was that?
Federal Land Revenue Service, which is the acronym is FRS. FRS is the federal government agency that collects tax in Nigeria. It collects tax, it accounts for taxes, it manages tax administration. So that's where I worked from 1976, and I eventually retired in 2010 as a coordinating director. After my retirement in FRS, I moved to the Tax Institute, which you just mentioned, the Chartered Institute, CIT, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. While I was in FRS, I had always been part of, like one of the foundation members in CIT, because I was there when it started. I knew everything from the beginning to the end. At the time, I was the longest serving council member in the CIT. So I was there, and I was able to get to the highest echelon of that institute. I became the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, second female president of CIT. This is a little bit of I don't know whether I remember that. She was the first female president of that tax institute. I was the second one. And I became the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation in Nigeria in the year 2015. I was there usually in 2-year tenure. So I was there for 2 years, 2015 to 2017. Somehow, as luck would have it, it was during my time when I was the president of CIT that another body at the West African level, that body is also a tax institute. It was formed during the time that I had already become the president of the CIT, ever before I became the member, ever before I became the president of this tax institute, that is the Nigerian one. The West African body was now formed. So it happened to be formed at the time I was already the president of the CIT. In one word, I happened to be the first female president of that body. It is called, the acronym is WAUTI, W-A-U-T-I. WAUTI means West African Union of Tax Institutes. That is taking taxation away from the shores of Nigeria.
So you have to be the pioneer president.
Not only
the
first female
president.
The pioneer president is Prince Razak. Okay. Prince Razak and Quadri was the pioneer president because
so you have to be the first female president.
First female president from our body. But for the Nigerian woman, I happen to be the second female president. But for the Wauti one, the West African one, I'm the first female. So it ran concurrently. It was during the time that I was the CIT president that I was also the president of the Wauti. So both ran concurrently 2015 to 2017. So the way the presidency of Wauti runs is usually between countries, those members that are full member of Wauti, because some countries are not full member. The country that is used and is not really is a full member. So Nigeria is a full member of Wauti, Gambia is not a full member, Ghana is a full member. So at the time I became the president of Wauti, about 2 or 3 countries were just full members. So the presidency was being rotated between Nigeria and Ghana. So it is not an individual that gets that honor of being the president of the country. So it happened that during the time I became the president of CIT, the presidency of Wauti was within the domain of Nigeria. So it was just lucky. I was lucky. If it had not been the turn of Nigeria, if it was the turn of Ghana, I wouldn't have been the president at all, not to talk of being the first female. But as God arranged it, it came to Nigeria. At the time, I was the second president of CIT. So it ran concurrently. I was the president of both bodies during my tenure as the president of CIT. So that was that. It's 2 years shared in countries. So later on, as luck would also have it, during the time that I was also the president of both bodies, the countries, different countries, some countries that are members of the Nigerian one, members of the West African one, and also Nigeria, and also South Africa, came together that we should put together another body called AATI. AATI is an Association of Tax Institutes, African Tax Institutes. AATI, AATI, Association of African Tax Institutes. So that was formed also during my tenure. So at that body, we wanted to get somebody to be the head or the president of that AATI, the African one. So we had agreed that the presidency of AATI would go to South Africa. So we had a meeting in Abuja. During that meeting, somebody that was supposed to be the head of AATI came all the way from South Africa to be decorated for that ceremony. But unfortunately, we didn't form a quorum. You know, Africa is not made up of 2 or 3 countries. It's made up of 50 plus countries that you can say this is. To have that African outcome, we needed to form a quorum. So at that meeting, we wanted to decorate the person that came from South Africa. The countries that were at that meeting in Abuja, Nigeria was there, South Africa was there, Ghana was there. I think only that countries. Just a handful. So we just couldn't. So a decision was taken that no, we cannot decorate that person as the head of AATI. So we now decided that let there be a caretaker, let's form a caretaker. So at that meeting we formed a caretaker. We said a caretaker will run the affairs of AATI pending the time when we were able to form the quorum and now have a proper edge of arts. So we agreed at that meeting, the caretaker committee was put in place. We also agreed, as law would have it, that I should be the chairman of the caretaker committee of arts. So during my tenure as the president of CIT, Jesuit Organization of Nigeria, in 2015, so between 2015 and 2017, I headed the Nigerian one CIT, the West African one WAT, then the RT, but RT was not there as the president, as I explained to you, but I chaired the caretaker committee, which was the one that was actually running affairs of RT at that time. And I was in South Africa 2 or 3 times trying to put it together so that RT can bring us, and stand well. But unfortunately, until I left, I was in that role. I finished the CIT and WAT, finished that tenure in 2017. But that of RT continued until 2019. So I left that one, I think 2019 or 2018, thereabout. So that is about it. Tax Institute. So later on, I moved into academics. But before, I moved into academics. Later on, I said we are going to talk about achievements. So later on, I moved into academics. I started doing the university setting with Babcock University as associate professor of taxation and fiscal policy. Because Babcock University in the nation just started their taxation programs, actually accounting program. But those that were offering accounting, some of them offered taxation as well. So they needed somebody to anchor the taxation aspect. So I was appointed, and Babcock gave me the associate professor of taxation. So I was associate professor at Babcock. As I was doing that, the Millennium University also appointed me. He sent me another letter. They wanted me to be the associate professor in charge of their taxation for their masters. And their masters and some of their undergraduate diploma. I handled their diploma in taxation as well as their masters in taxation at Olateju. About the same time that I was handling that talk. I was also the president of CIT. So I would just quickly look at my calendar, CIT, the day that I saw I was free. I would take a plane, rush to Olateju in Benin, and go there and do the lecture for them. Then coming back, go to Babcock, come and attend to some matters in CIT. That was how I was able to do that. So that was all at Babcock University. So during my tenure, one of my achievements was that I went to so many universities. I would universities where they were not offering taxation in their curriculum. So I would go there and go and tell them about taxation. And you don't have taxation, what do you have? You tell me, I have accounting, I have finance. I said, what of taxation? Wherever they told me that they were not offering taxation, I would say, let's chat about taxation. I would now tell them about taxation, how it is different from tax, and so many things. So I've gone to so many universities like that. When I was president, I went to Africa, I went to this university. So when I think I went to about 7 or 8 universities. So when it became the turn of Caleb University, I went to Caleb University just to tell them that if you are not offering taxation is a different area, it's a different discipline, because a lot of people, they make this confusion. They think taxation and accounting are the same. They are not the same. They are different disciplines entirely. But I must say this, if you want to make a success in taxation, you must have the knowledge of some core subjects. You must have the knowledge of law, because you deal with a lot of tax laws. Taxation, I put law first, because taxation itself is about statute. There is nothing to say about taxation that won't mention law. All the rates of taxes is law. You see section, this section, that section, that all the tax laws, when you mention rate of taxes, you find sections that you are going to use to back it up. If you talk about capital allowances, there are sections to back them. Everything in law is taxation. There is nothing that you can do in law that you can do the taxation, but it's not backed up by law.
It's constitution compliance.
Yes, every tax that we collect in Nigeria and all over the world globally, because I've studied the tax system of so many countries, there is none that is not legally backed. So tax is a legislative backing. If there is no law backing it up, the decree during the military or an act of the National Assembly, not that we have the National Assembly, you cannot do anything.
But I must say, that was a beautiful profile you had, combining your role as the president of CITN to that of an African country and to that of another working committee at another platform on the African level. Congratulations. That was a beautiful profile. I am highly impressed that this is coming from a woman, a female in Nigeria. Congratulations. Let's move to my next question.
Before we move to your next question, I want to say about my present.
Okay.
Now. Okay. Or maybe you want to wait to get your.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying that I went to Caleb University to tell them to introduce taxation into their country. So that day that I went, the members of the board, the Senate, were all there to receive me. I'm an author of the tax encyclopedia, tax dictionary, and is a reference book.
Tax dictionary?
Yes.
Which one is this?
The two of them. This is
they are both tax dictionary and encyclopedia.
Yeah, in 2 volumes. This is volume 1. The red one is volume 1. The blue one is volume 2. So volume 1
Edu tax.
Edu tax. You know my first name is Seju. Yes. So I had tax to from Edu tax. My email address is sedutax@gmail.com and then sedutax@gmail.com. So everything that I do, I find Sedutax. Even when I was a consultant, I have Sedutax Consulting Limited. So the name of this book is actually, it was one when I wrote it, but it was like this, just it was so big, very big, 2,490 pages.
Okay.
Very bulky. So not hardly carry it. So the publisher, Professor Olateju, now advised me, he said, let us do it to two volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. So it was only in alphabetical order. In volume 1, I have letters starting from letter A. Under letter A, you find all transition letters, accounting letters that deal with A, that start with A. Like if you want anything under account, you find it here. Accounting, find it here. So like that. So this one was from alphabet A. It stops in alphabet M. Multiple taxes. If you want anything about multiple taxes, you find it here. You find the history. Anything that you want in taxation, you can trace the history here. In fact, these the 2 books, I trace it as far back as in the 18th century, 1904, when Simon Guide introduced taxation in its former form to Nigeria. So this volume 2 starts from where I told you this one stops at letter M, multiple taxes. So this one starts from letter M. So if you want anything about national tax policy, you'll find it here. And if you look at through the book, if you want something on national tax policy, there's a lot of cross-referencing. You can see something on national, you see something again, go to letter T, tax. You see something on policy, letter P. Then you now come back and read about national tax policy. Definition of tax, definition of taxation, tax laws, tax administration, anything tax is here. So that one starts from letter T and stops at XY, stops at letter Y. No, up to Z, it stops at letter Z. Zones, because I have zones of tax appeal, it stops at letter Z. The only letter that I omitted is letter X. I searched, I couldn't find any word in taxation that starts with the letter X.
X as in 7.
X as X.
Okay, see
The X in 6. Okay. I have something to start with
X is 6.
Okay. The X that you have is 6. Okay. Or even in tax. So I was looking for no letter that starts with X. So that is the only letter that is omitted between the two volumes. But from A up to Z, they are here. Some in volume 1, some in volume 2. So that's about this book. So I don't want to go off track. So when I went to Caleb University, I went with these two books.
You want him to drop this?
No, I said I can drop them. So I went with these two books when I went to Caleb University. So I said, let's chat about taxation. He said we have to start. I said, it's very interesting subject, let's start. So I got up. I didn't hold any paper. I didn't even know I was going to talk. I didn't hold any paper. I was just talking for almost about an hour about taxation. To tell you
because you were well loaded.
Yes,
the subject matter.
Something I've done for
yes.
And I told you I worked in federal revenue service for 34 years. I'm coming back to my achievements in federal revenue service. So anyway, it was not only these two books that I went with to Caleb University. I had another 4 books. That visit now led to how I became professor of taxation. So after I left Caleb University on that day after the visit, the vice chancellor and the professor we got in touch with the registrar. They asked for my CV. The rest is history. So the day I finished my tenure at CNT as the president of CNT, I delivered a valedictory lecture. So some vice chancellors of certain universities were invited. I didn't even know they were invited. So Professor Olateju was the vice chancellor of Caleb University was invited. So he came. So when he was coming, he actually gave me the letter appointing me as a professor.
He was fully prepared.
Yes, he was. I didn't know anything. So at the time, he just said the vice chancellor of Caleb University, so I wanted to say a few words about the outgoing president because I was actually outgoing that time. I finished my tenure. I was even thinking about what I would do. I was just thinking of that. So they just came with a letter with an envelope said, I'm here with some members from my university. So the registrar was there. There were 2 other professors, evident professors that came in. I think they were about 4 or 5. So we got out to appoint and now said the council, the senate, the board of trustees, and the rector of Caleb University has appointed as professor of taxation. And on that day, I, Olateju, became the first female professor of taxation in Nigeria. Announced me by Caleb University.
Where you work to date.
And I'm still there. I'm still at the Caleb University. So when we get to achievements, talk about my achievements.
That was quite long. So let's look at this question now. For the sake of education, I want you to tell us the various categories of taxes that we have in Nigeria.
Well, in Nigeria, we have so many taxes in Nigeria. Some taxes are classified as direct taxes. Some taxes are classified as indirect taxes. The direct taxes, they are not consumption taxes. Direct taxes is about who bears the burden of the tax. So not that it is direct or indirect like that. Whoever bears the burden of the person who bears the burden classified as direct tax. All consumption taxes are indirect taxes. So let me go to the direct taxes. We have companies income tax. That's the direct taxes. The companies, they pay the taxes themselves. So that's a direct tax. We also have, under the direct taxes, our petroleum profit tax. It's also a direct tax. The companies that are in oil producing companies pay the taxes. Those are just examples. I'm not going to go to the technical to have over 60 taxes. I just mentioned the cables. We have our petroleum profit taxes. We have personal tax paid by individuals. So let me go to the second one. The indirect taxes, all the consumption taxes, they are indirect taxes. In Nigeria, we used to have sales tax as an indirect tax, but we don't have sales tax again. Because by the time value-added tax was introduced to Nigeria in 1992 to 1993, value-added tax was actually introduced to replace sales tax. So we don't collect sales tax in Nigeria again, but we collect other variants There's consumption taxes collected by the states. There's a value tax. All those ones there.
That is
taxes. That is VAT. Then there are some that we don't refer to as taxes. There are levies, there are charges. They are not taxes, in strict sense, but there has been some argument whether the levy is a tax or whether the charge is a tax. But if I give you one or two examples, you yourself can form your opinion whether a levy is a tax or a fee. So many of these, they are revenues. A fee is a form of revenue. A charge is a form of revenue. A tax is a form of revenue. But not all of them are taxes. Like if you want to obtain a passport, you go to the passport office, immigration office. I think the immigration,
basically immigration,
you go to the immigration office to obtain passport or to renew your passport. When you go there, you pay or you don't pay. You do. What do you pay?
You pay on it all depends.
You pay a fee.
Yeah.
You pay the passport fee. You understand? You don't pay passport tax. Is it called passport tax?
No.
You pay a fee. So that fee is a revenue that goes to federal government, but it is not a tax. Then the charge, if you park somewhere, and so you have to pay a charge for parking, especially in Lagos State and some states to pay for parking. Whatever you pay for parking as parking fees or charge, they are not taxes in the real sense of taxes, but they are revenue to government. So we have so many like that in fact at the time people refer to them as multiple taxes because they are well over 60, 65 or so. There are so many. So that in 2015, government even decided to harmonize all these taxes. That there are too many. Let us put them to managing the size. But they got out of hand because the states need a lot of revenue. So they just keep on introducing so many types of revenues, taxes, charges, fees, and so on, so that they'll be able to carry out what they are supposed to do in their different states. So there are so many taxes, just as I said, but the key ones I mentioned companies income tax, petroleum profit tax, personal income tax, government tax, these are the key ones. We also have stamp duties, which is payable on documents. Like if you have a document, you want the document to be illegal tender, you pay something that is called stamp duty. That's also the key ones. All of our old taxes or fees introduced in 1999 are not the oldest. The stamp duties is about the oldest, which came in 1999. Other ones that came after it. Companies income tax was introduced in 1961 under the law called CETA 61. Companies income tax act 1961. The personal income tax, that one came under another law called PITA, Personal Income Tax Act, PITA. They are all under LFN. LFN is not the Federation of Nigeria 2004. Because we know right now there's another reform ongoing that will change the face of all tax laws as we have them today, which the bills recently forwarded to effect as approved them and now to the National Assembly to put them into proper laws. So that's a sense.
So in that sense, in Nigeria we have well over 60 different types of taxes.
There will be more than
60.
Yes,
we couldn't responsible for the multiple taxation the SMEs faces.
This is why there have been a lot of hue and cry, especially by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. They pay too many taxes, especially in the states. They pay too many taxes. At the federal level, the taxes that are being paid at the federal level, they are maltreated. They are maltreated in the sense that at the federal level, in fact, they collect taxes in accordance with the law. Companies Income Tax Act and also Federal Inland Revenue Service Establishment Act, those two laws, and then the Petroleum Profit Tax Act, P LFA 2004. We use one of those laws. But at the state level, because they need the laws of revenue, they go about collecting different types of tax. We have mineral tax, we have this tax, we have slaughterhouses tax. They just look for, it seems as if they look for any excuse to say that you get revenue from this.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. As an authority in the taxation industry, is there any way we can save this country from this multiple taxation?
Oh, it's not. is now on educators. On 8th of August 2020, the president, that is President Ahmed Tinubu, current president of Nigeria, immediately he came on board. One of the things that he first did was that he set up a policy called presidential fiscal policy and tax reform policy. They combine two things together to look at two things, to look at fiscal policy side and to look at tax policy as well. So before, what we used to have in Nigeria had always been tax reforms, not fiscal reforms as such. But this time, under President Tinubu, said the two should go together because one needs to be done. The chairman of that committee is Mr. Samuel. So they set up that committee. As I said, it was inaugurated 8th of August 2003.
So the committee is well over a year now.
It's well over a year. Okay, and what that committee has done is going to address, or is addressing, this issue of multiple taxes. By the time it comes to its implementation plan, by the time it comes to it, are not likely to have multiple taxes again. Because one of the recommendations of that committee is that we want to harmonize all these 68 taxes and reduce them to single digits, not more than maybe 8 or 9. So when we have 8 or 9, all those multiple taxes, they will no longer be existing because everything will be harmonized. So
the committee just submitted a report after a year.
They've submitted the bills. But I told you that there are bills now. They actually submitted some bills to the Federal Executive Council. So the next stage is for those bills to go to the National Assembly. Maybe they belong to the National Assembly as we speak again. The notice from the National Assembly that they come out. Because when you have, let me quickly educate you how we have a tax law. When you have a tax law, it goes through some processes. It first of all starts as a bill. A bill to start something like a bill like that to go to some processes. After it gets to the last stage, it will receive what is called presidential assent, that is that bill. Before a bill, which eventually becomes tax law, not only tax law, all laws, whether it is NPC law, whether it is law in education, they all go through this process of going through the bill. The last stage of a bill, when it ceases to become a bill and it becomes an act, ACT, not act of apostles, an act of the National Assembly, is when that bill receives the presidential assent. So once it's now at the National Assembly as bills, I think 4 major bills were sent there, which will translate, so it's going to translate the whole of Nigerian tax system to something more positive by the time everything comes out. Because all the challenges that we have been witnessing in the Nigerian tax system, that committee, the fiscal policy, tax reform committee, will virtually address all those ones. And not only that, we will go as far as to make recommendations for fiscal areas, which is about economic expenditure, visual from exchange, to stabilize the naira and other things, and then to make the companies to make them happy.
Well, the policy is still the process.
It's in process. It's very soon move to implementation stage. Then we'll take that.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. If you want to address a group of SMEs and your intention is to allay their fears on taxation on their various businesses, what will you tell them?
And that is the small medium
entrepreneurs.
Small medium. In fact, the small medium enterprises have always, government has always been addressing them by introducing a lot of tax incentives. But you know, one thing is for government to say, I have done this. The other thing is for those that are supposed to benefit, the beneficiaries, to have the education, that those things are there, take advantage of these things. So some of them may not be aware because they need tax consultants or tax advisors to let them know that government has rolled out so many measures, because government has always been rolling out measures. Particularly when Finance Act came on board in 2019, the first Finance Act that was released was Finance Act 2019, later Finance Act 2020, Finance Act 2021, there's no Finance Act 2022. because it was not signed into law. Because the Finance Act also starts as a finance bill. First of all, a finance bill. From the finance bill, by the time it gets to the president assent to it, the presidential assent to the Finance Act. So right from the introduction of Finance Bill 2019, which eventually became Finance Act of 2019, there were so many measures. In fact, I would say that Finance Act of 2019 is very sympathetic.
How do you mean?
Yes, sympathetic to the small enterprises. For example, before that time, there was not for VAT, for example, VAT, there was nothing that is called threshold. VAT threshold, they have it in the law. For what we mean by VAT threshold before was that everybody, even the small businesses, all of them should be charging VAT, remitting VAT, and so on and so forth. But the Finance Act 2019 now introduced what we call VAT threshold, so that some of the small enterprises they are exempted from the small and medium enterprises will now be exempted from filing VAT or charging VAT and so on and so forth. So they are now being protected. Another one is that the Finance Act 2019 up to 2020, because there was a Finance Act 2020 after 2019. So the Finance Act 2020 is actually the continuum of Finance Act 2019. So when you want to, if you just want to say 2019, it's better to take the two together one document, because 2019 is actually continues in 2020. What are some measures that were omitted in 2019 are captured in 2020? For example, under the rates of tax, before the rates of tax we had only 20% and 30%. So that Finance Act 2019 now introduces zero rates for companies income tax. So companies income tax, that they have a turnover that is 20 or 25. Their turnover, if it falls from 0 naira to 25, I think 25
annually,
25 annually, their turnover, they are exempted from paying companies income tax. So I think that is beautiful to improve them, so that they have some money to now grow their businesses. Then it introduces another layer, which is the first one is zero. Those small companies, the SMEs that you just mentioned. It is zero rates for them to don't pay any tax.
So which one is that?
The one that you just mentioned, SMEs, small and medium, small enterprises, and they actually categorize them into three: small enterprises, medium enterprises, and the large.
Which was micro?
Yes. So the micro is like the small. Micro is something small, very small. So the small and the micro, they are being put together. So after that, we have the medium one, and that one is also dependent on their turnover. The first one is the turnover that is up to 25. So the second one is from 25 million to 100 million. So they will pay 20% as long as the tax rate. Then the rest, that is the third category, are large companies. So their own is 30%. Then even in variable, the 30% that we're talking about now, by the time we start to implement all the reforms, by that we leave the committee, the 30% is coming down to about 25%, so that 25%. But that will take effect from 2025. So there are so many tax incentives for the small and medium. They are being protected, but they need to look at this incentive, because the Finance Act introduced about 98 tax incentives, but not all of them 98 tax incentives are for the small and medium enterprises. They're talking about VAT. So there's now an expansion list of items that are exempted. So many food items have been exempted. Things that from VAT. So items that are used by the poor have been exempted.
Can you give some examples?
Okay, some example. Before there was this issue that water was valuable, that replaced the VAT on water, whether pure water or whatever. Those usually hot water. Usually it is a small people, those that fall in the small class that usually use pure water. So pure water and hot water, there's no VAT. What are some agricultural produce? Yam, bread. The list is long. yam, bread, agricultural.
Okay, that was why I said agricultural produce.
Yes, agricultural produce, meat, different types of fish, flour. There are so many things.
They were all exempted.
They were now they're exempted from VAT. So that's that. And as they are exempted, some of them exempted from tax. There's something that they have done as CAC to Corporate Affairs Commission that the small and medium enterprises to take up also benefit. So I can't remember that now. It's for taxation. There is a lot.
No, but some food items, if you buy them from a supermarket, they attract fat. This
And the other things that they also
are
enjoy.
consumable.
The other thing that small companies also enjoy is when they want to obtain tax clearance certificates. Before, when you want to obtain tax clearance certificate and you have not started business, you have to pay what is called pre-operation levy of 20,000 before you can get that tax clearance certificate. So the Finance Act has now abolished that, but you don't pay that again. So that is also comfort to the small and medium enterprises.
Yeah, I asked earlier that there are some consumable items that you pick from the supermarket and they are subjected to VAT. What happens?
Well, there are some, not everyone that are subjected to that. That's why I said they need some education. Even what they sell in the supermarket, they need some education in the sense that they have to look at the VAT exempt items. So when they look at the VAT exempt items, they too will not impose VAT on those items.
Okay, what is your opinion on price control in Nigeria?
Price control in Nigeria, I'm not sure whether it's now working.
We do have it now, we used to have it.
I remember I happened to my first employment in life is from the price. I was in price control board. When I finished my higher school, there is usually a gap of about a year or so before we go to the university. So that gap, when I finished my HSC, before I go to the university.
So you work with the price control board?
Yes.
So what were your main assignments there?
My main assignment that time, the price control board, they will give us prices how they have controlled it. They have their own prices that they have controlled at the peak at that board, based on certain parameters. So they can say the bag of rice should not be more than 5,000 naira.
Okay.
They gave us that list.
Okay.
We say bag
at the open market?
No, they give us that at the office. I mean price control board. They have their own price. They are controlling it and they want marketers to keep comply. And they had already told them that don't say they will have gone to the suppliers of this rice and the importers. How much do you bring it in? How much do you think that it should be sold? See, make a profit. We will have done that with the board. So they have that document which they gave to us. They were called price inspectors. So those that were university graduates, they were called PR, price inspectors. Those of us that were working there only with A levels were called API. I was an API, assistant price inspector. So they will give us that document, they will give us money. So they posted me to by that time. So I was assigned to Agbeni Market. Agbeni Market. There was one other big market in there that they sell me provisions. So when we go to those markets, they had already given us money, marked money. So we now go there, go to those people selling. How much is a bag of rice? How much is a carton of sugar? How much is a carton of milk?
You pretend to be a buyer.
A buyer with the money that the officers already given us. So when we now I want to pay this, I want to pay that. We say, no, is this one last? I said, are you sure? Are you sure? Please now let me pay this. We'll be begging them to accept what government has pegged it to. So we see that they disagree that they said that is not the last rate. We now pay them without much money.
At this point, they are selling above.
They are selling above. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Government has said bag of rice is 5,000. When you get there, you can tell us bag of rice is 7,000. Now you have it from 7,000 that they say they want to sell it to 6,000, 5,000, 5,000. They might tell us that no, the last is 7,000. This now take 5,000 you say no. The last is 6,000. Are you sure? They will say it's 6,000 last. We now pay
with the month money.
With the month money for 6,000.
So what follows the other?
We now tell them that this money you are holding is from government. We now show them documents that you are not supposed to sell above 5,000.
Is there any penalty to that?
First offender will take it a penalty. So, but we mark that shop.
Okay.
We mark that shop. We have a document. They give us number by name. What's the shop? We are interview seller. What's your name? What's the name of your? You don't have business name.
Business name. Yes.
You write it. Are you registered? Are you registered? You will get some information that some of them are not registered.
Yes.
You pay for the shop. You pay for the store and things like that. So we tell them that we are coming back. Come back, but they won't know when we come back. So we go back. We do a visit. So like that, we are able to get them to be selling within the control price.
Is it possible that we will relocate?
Right now, we don't have that board. Yes. But I don't know whether Ministry of Trade, because we were under Ministry of Trade that time, because it was Ministry of Trade that seconded me to price control board.
Okay, my question is it not possible that we regulate this particular board coming back to
what I would say is that I think the Ministry of Trade can look into that.
Okay.
Ministry of Trade is not what the question you brought in is not a tax question.
Okay.
It's not a tax question.
Yes, I was just trying to link it to the area of that.
It's beyond the purview of the tax administration. It's another one entirely. No government, they have different. Have their contact fertilized. You do this, you do that.
Different departments.
Yes, that is on that trade. Or maybe they have formed another body. I think there's one price something index. Maybe that will handle it.
Okay. Okay, now, if you are to encourage our outgoing secondary school students to come into the business of taxation, what will you tell them?
In fact, we've been encouraging both of them.
Okay.
To take up PSC taxation. Many of the students don't have information. The information they have is that you either do accounting or finance.
They are very familiar with accounting.
Accounting finance. Because accounting is an old discipline. It has been for more than 50, 100 years. It's been going for a long time. So people just know, even parents, some parents they don't have information. There's another course that they can do digitization. So, in fact, some universities now, the NUC have given them approval to run PSC taxation.
Okay.
Caleb University, we're one of the universities that can run PSC taxation. In fact, when I was employed at Caleb University, I was employed to handle that area. I was employed as a head of department of the taxation department of Caleb University. And we had produced about 45 students that read MBA taxation from Caleb University.
Wow.
And many, I think there are not less than 10 or 15 universities in Nigeria that are running university taxation. Now, so many, I know that's our state. There are many that are running. Maybe a university, there are so many that are running.
But I don't think the information is open.
Just go to
for the secondary school students.
Not yet. Yes, talking about secondary school students, we have another body that we call SWEET. SWEET is an arm. SWEET means Society of Women in Taxation.
Okay.
SWEET is an arm of CIT. So at the SWEET level, even at the CIT itself, we've been doing a lot of things to ensure that they catch them young from the universities. So the SWEET, they go to universities, they organize so many programs for them. Debates, they do debates, they give them some prizes, even the cash prize also as a means of encourage them. So at the secondary school level now, you cannot say they are not aware of taxation as a different discipline. Because the CIT coupled with the Society of Women in Taxation all over Nigeria, they do a lot of things to make sure that they spread this information about. Because once they know about it and the taxation that they do secondary school, they'll be able to imbibe the culture of running ESC taxation. But if they don't have that information, because information is very key, and the education, so it is now spreading. Then there are also, we have there are some tax clubs in many universities where they are also spreading knowledge about taxation. It was spearheaded by UNILAG, University of Lagos. They have a tax club there. We also have it at the University of Ife. Even at Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, they also have tax club.
So the information is all going.
It's now going, spreading, gradually spreading. Yes. And that is positive. As I mentioned, CIT also, the Society of Women in Taxation and the district societies, the CIT, we are trying to spread that information now, particularly at the grassroots and secondary school level.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Let's look at your achievements and the legacy you like to leave behind. Can you share your achievements in the taxation business?
So talking about my achievements, I will put them into different phases. Okay. Phase 1, my achievements in Federal Revenue Service. Phase 2, my achievements at the Tax Institute, CIT, WAUTI. My achievements in Caleb University. The fourth one is my achievements in other areas, but they are still tax related. Everything about my life is tax.
It's tax related.
Everything tax. So I'll just summarize looking at Federal Revenue Service. In Federal Revenue Service, I happen to be I was the first female board secretary appointed by the board of Federal Revenue Service. The first one to be appointed by the board. That position, usually they don't want to make any. In fact, the chairman of the Federal Revenue Service told me that I was going to occupy that seat for maybe about 6 months. But I ended up occupying that position for 15 years.
Wow.
That record is yet to be broken. I was appointed and re-appointed as the board secretary of Federal Revenue Service. During those 15 years, I did a lot. When I say that, I did a lot for the Federal Revenue Service. I was able to be the first, either the first person to occupy a certain position in FRS, or the first female to occupy a certain position in FRS. So let's go about it this way. I'm the first female to be appointed as a director for Federal Revenue Service. To be proud to me, there was no female that got to that position of director. We only know deputy director.
So, getting to the position as the first female director at the Federal Inland Revenue, what were you able to achieve?
I was able to achieve it because during that position, I also happened to be the director of HR, director of human resources. I carved out a lot of trainings for the staff. It was during my tenure as the director of HR in FRS that we introduced SAP, software applications process or something like that. We introduced it, whereby it's a form of digitalization. Before, we were doing everything manual, but under that SAP, we started bringing it in terms of some type of related technology. So, and with SAP, it came on board in my home, when I was director of human resources. Then we also have a lot of transformation that we did. We brought in a lot of people to FRAs that they have different disciplines to join. So it was only the type that I was HR director. And I also ended up being the first female coordinating director, which is a director, which I mentioned earlier. So apart from being the first female director in FRS, I was also the first female coordinating director.
Okay, now let's shift to CIT because I know you have a lot to share.
We have to share. I haven't really been FRS. Okay, I know you're in the hall, but I'm not friends with them. Okay, right. In FRS, I happen to be the secretary because tax reform is very important because we are undergoing another tax reform now. Okay. So we undertook some tax reforms prior to this one. There was a tax reform in 1978, there was a tax reform in 1991, there was a tax reform in 2002 to 2003. The tax reform of 1991, I was the secretary to that study that produced the report that introduced value-added tax into Nigeria. Value-added tax is something that you cannot sweep under the carpet. It's a fundamental part of the revenue profile of Nigeria as we speak now. So I happened to be the secretary that wrote that 6 reports that introduced value-added tax to Nigeria. Then I was also the first female to be the head of corporate affairs, and so on and so forth. So you said I shouldn't waste time.
No, let's continue.
Okay. So the procurement was the first female to get the procurement of FRS. It was only my time at the headquarters, only my time as the board secretary at the headquarters of FRS that we built it called Revenue House. In fact, the plan where they wrote this office was commissioned on August 27, 1997. So I was one that produced that plan. I was the one that created all the offices in the forest. I was the one that chose the carpet that we were using in the forest during that time. The flowers that we planted in Revenue House, I'm talking about the Revenue House, I was the one that planted all those flowers. All of them, they are now big trees because I planted them in about 1990 something. So many that I did that time from FRS. So we said we should move to CIT. So at CIT, my achievements is also good. The first thing that I did when I became president of CIT was that I looked at the abandoned projects that we had. What do I mean by abandoned projects? There are some things that president before I happened to be the 12th president. So president before me, they have been trying to achieve certain things which they were not able to achieve due to some challenges. Not that they were not capable of achieving, but due to some challenges in front of the otherwise. But some challenges did not prevented them from accomplishing. One of it is that to have a professorial chair in taxation in the university. This was actually mooted by Mrs. Adibowale when she was president, but she was not able to achieve it. Other presidents after her were not able to achieve it. So as I told you, I said what I wanted to do was I looked for abandoned projects, made sure I cleared that out of the way before I now introduced new projects. So I was able to get CIT to endorse a professorial chair at Babcock University. So that was one. Another one was that for voting, we are not doing electronic voting. We tried and tried and tried, keep on failing. So during my term, the first electronic voting that we did was during my term. Then the third one, we had a liaison office in Abuja. We had always been operating from rented apartments. So when I became president, I said we must have our own building. So it was during my tenure that we were able to buy a building. Right now we have a beautiful, imposing edifice in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, which is the liaison office, the Chartered Resource Transition, which is called now named Olong House. So that is the name of it. So that's another big achievement. Then as I said, I went to so many universities to talk to them to introduce taxation, which they did. So let me just leave that at that. There were so many of them because I listed them about 22. I listed them about 22 achievements that I had when I was in CIT. I also introduced something that I call one-on-one with the staff of CIT. We call the staff, talk to them. If I notice that the staff has not been happy, is sleeping in the office, can't go on work, if he's a man, it's your wife maybe it's a problem. If it's a woman that asks him for a job, the problem has a problem, so that they can concentrate well. So I introduced that one. I also introduced tax issues with the president. So some of the staff that were working at CIT at that time, they were not knowledgeable in taxation. So I said to myself, how can they be working in CIT and don't know the difference between tax and taxation? They don't know the different types of taxes. you don't know the tax laws. So I was having this session with them. I think every week or every fortnight.
Training the staff.
Yes, to train them to know. At least if somebody comes in, they're asking basic taxation, basic taxes, you should be able to answer. So I was also doing that for them. Then I also introduced something for the staff in the real estate. I went to one of the real estate companies. I agreed with them that I wanted to have CIT real estate. So I negotiated when they were going to sell the land for us at CIT, half plots, full plots. So that's, and now I arranged with them that they should allow them to pay instrumental. So I paid for their forms. They said they have to pay maybe 5,000 or 2,000 to get forms. All those that said they were interested, I paid for now pay for their forms just to get them in bonus. So since they knew that I paid for the form, they now said I want the land, I want the land. So I'm sure by now you would have finished paying for the land, either half a month or for both. So that is it. There are so many other things that I do. It's small things, something that will boost staff morale. Because when I was head of HR, I did a lot of those things that made staff to be happy. So I just extended that kind of gist to them and say to the staff that were working there.
At the African level,
then at Wauti, as I told you, the headship is shared between Nigeria and so during my time, we had so many meetings to integrate some of the countries that are not yet members of the Wauti, so that we can have a common front and be able to put together things that we can do at the West African level. So during that time too, Wauti joined one of our body that is called three bodies joined together to form something of the global tax reforms area. The Autica, I can't remember the full of it, Asian something. That would be joined us. And the CFA, the European one, the Asian, and then West Africa, all of us will come together. We join what is called Global Tax Advisors and Platform. We meet regularly to discuss how to promote tax at the African level. The tax advisors, what tax advisors want to advise clients correct way to do that one. Usually have conferences together. So when they have their own, we go to Brussels, attend their conference. When we have the one held in Gambia, UK, attended the one in Gambia. We also attended the one in Cotonou. Gambia was given an award during that one. So some of them they attended. So that is just at the West African level.
now can we look at some of your books?
So during my tenure, so what I did something that no other president had done before. The day I was doing my investiture, that is the day I became president of CIT, and that was a ceremony. When I was 65 years, I did it on the day that I turned 65. So I had it two dual events at the same time. The investiture as the 12th president of CIT, second female president of CIT. Then we did that on Bounty together the same day. So it was also that day that the investiture took place as the president of Bounty and the first women. So I made up my mind that I would do something different.
Okay.
So I entered into a partnership agreement with the CIT itself as a body that I would write some books. It was actually noted by the past president, the person that handed back to the chief of the deacon. So that I should write 10 series called Teju Tax series, called CIT Teju Tax series. So they are in a partnership. So I formed a partnership with CIT to produce the books in order to, if you look at here, you see CIT. Have you seen CIT Teju Tax series? Tax series. So I was able to write 4 series. This is the first one. The highlights of historical developments of Nigerian tax system. This is CIT Teju Tax series number 01. If you go on the internet, you find it there. They are all there. Books are there. So if you look at it, it says something about who book is Historical and Legal Development and also says something about institute. The foreword was written by Mr. DK. So the purpose of the book was just to tax education for those people that are interested in taxation. So I was able to produce 4. So this is the second one, series number 2, taxes around the globe. You know, you are asking about number of things that I said there were so many taxes. So in this book I captured, I think, 177 type of taxes. 165 type of taxes around the globe, all over the world. Globally, not the one we collect in Nigeria, globally. So this is the CIT introduced taxes. Number 2, a concise review of different tax types. So that time I had not recognized the professor, I can see Dr. Olateju Somorin. It's just Dr. Olateju. So I wrote that one. Then number 3, evolution of Nigerian tax laws. So we're not able to talk about tax laws, there's so many tax laws. We have a Companies Income Tax Act, that is Act C21, 2004. There's also another law, Petroleum Profits Tax Act, Cap P13, 2004. We also have Personal Income Tax Act. We also have Value Added Tax Act. They are all Act. All these laws that say Act. They used to be decreased during the military period. Okay. So when Nigeria now became democratic and no longer under the military regime, the decree they changed to Act of the National Assembly. So that's the third one. The fourth one is not here. The fourth one is tax reforms in Nigeria since 1978. So I was able to produce 4. So the 4, I released this 4 the day that I was interested as the president of CIT and the president of Mountain. So all of them, they are saying different things. This is about taxes. This one is about tax laws. Another one is a development. It traces from CIT. It's a symbol of it. I wrote everything. CIT did not write anything. I wrote everything, but CIT paid for publishing it. They paid the publisher. Okay. But I was a offer. So not that it was written by me and CIT partnership that they paid. I didn't use my money to publish it. They paid for the publication, for publishing it. But I am the symbol of that really one that wrote everything. Any errors, take responsibility for it. That's that one. Then when usually in the universities, to celebrate a professor in all universities, even in other countries, to celebrate a professor, the professor needs to write what is called an inaugural lecture. Inaugural lecture, where you invite people, you demonstrate your mastery of your area of discipline. If you call yourself a professor of medicine, during your inaugural lecture, demonstrate your mastery in that area of medicine. If you say you are an ophthalmologist, demonstrate your core competence. Yes, so that. So I happen to be the 4th inaugural lecturer. We start with 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was the 4th one. So this is the lecture that I presented. So that ceremony. The ceremony took place on the 26th of June, 2019. At Caleb University. Because that was when I got my professor of taxation, years of taxation. Put it there. So it was there that I did this one. Some older universities, some can say they're delivering 353rd inaugural lecture. Like I saw one, that was the age of the university. But I happen to be the 4th one. Now, I think we have taken 7th and 8th or so. 7th, 8th, I think we're gradually moving to 9th or so. I've taken a longer lecture. I've taken 8 or so. So that is that one. So this is just the remaining part.
No, the last book.
Then this one, I'm not a single author of this one. This book, it's called Value Tax in Nigeria, Policy, Legal, Administrative Issues, and Options for Reforms. So we have many authors that produce this book. So I happen to be one of the authors. So what I did here, the topic that was assigned to me is in chapter 3, review of amendments for the VAT law, 1993 to 2013. So because VAT law, the act was legislated, signed in 1993. So the law, so by 2013 it has gone through so many amendments, not less than 40 amendments. So I was given that chapter, chapter 3, to now tell you what has happened to VAT since 1993 up to 2015. This was up to 2015. So I produced this chapter. So pages 45 to 60 what I did. There were other contributors, different types. But everything is on VAT. A lot of them is income tax, just VAT. If you want to know anything about the development of VAT, everything is contained in this book as a time waited. Because since that time, other things have happened. Other things have happened because the taxation is not static. It keeps on growing. So that is why if you are in taxation, you cannot afford to say that I don't want to do it. You just have to be able to capture all the developments as the economy is growing, taxation is growing.
So my very last question. What would you like to be remembered for?
So many. Yes, I would like to be remembered for the fact that I'm the first female professor of taxation. Nobody can take that from me. I'm the first female professor of taxation in Nigeria. I'd like to remember for that. At Caleb University, I'm the first female professor at Caleb University. Apart from being the first female professor of taxation in Nigeria, I'm also the first female professor that they have produced at Caleb University. At Caleb University, we have made some contributions. Remember, I'm the only female member of staff that is a member of the Global Council of Caleb University. I'd like to be remembered for that at Caleb University. Also at Caleb University, I'm the first female to be the dean of the postgraduate school, College of Postgraduate Studies. I happen to be the first female to be in the PG school. The PG school, that's the highest college in any university, and I was in that position for 2 tenures from 2019 to 2024. I was the dean, and there are so many other things that I like to remember for Caleb University. At FRS too, I want to be remembered as one of the first female director of FRS, first female meeting director, and all my other achievements that I've done there in the 15 years, appointed and being appointed. It has not happened. When they come, just serve their tenure and leave. But in my own case, not only that I was appointed, I was appointed by the board, not by the directors, but by the whole board, the Federal Revenue Service. Then I decided I would like to be remembered because now, by making sure that we now have the certain liaison office in Abuja, they know that if not for the fact that it was a television president, we would not have had that building because getting into was not easy. So, but I was able to achieve it. When the professorial charge was the first one, I was able to also do that. So, and there are so many like that. The first author, maybe I'm the only one from our own that has been able to produce a book in taxation of 2,490 pages, as well as being tax encyclopedia, the tax dictionary, and the reference book. Nigerian tax system. Everything that you want to know about the Nigerian tax system Even those that are coming, that's why I didn't want to touch it and say I want to update it. I just want to read it for historical purposes. If I'm going to write another book, I write to say, okay, let this one be there as it is, so that if anybody wants to trace, like all the amendments in all the tax laws, I can tell you what sections are amended in companies and tax and why they were amended. They are contained in this book. Like an issue of capital allowances, why were the rates, why were they increased, what were the rates before, the second schedule of second schedule CETA, what happened to this, what happened to that, then all the rates, why are we changing rates? Then for example, value-added tax, the rate now is 7.5. The original rate was 5%. I can, in this book, you find out that it was a ton of war for Nigeria to be able to retain that 5%. Because the IMF and the World Bank told Nigeria that the rate should be as high as 4%. But Nigeria said no, it must stay at 5%. It's contained in that. So many things like that. Then the first attempt to increase the rate of tax, it was in 2006. I wouldn't even call it an attempt because it was actually increased to 10% in 2006 from 5%. During the tenure of Olateju as the Minister of State for Finance, rate of VAT was increased to 10%. And started to collect that 10% rate. So we had to do a reversal of the diesel is contained there. So any history that you want to know, then all directors, then the structure of FRS, be able to trace it from this book. How many we had, the chairman of FRS, right from the time of the white people, the first Nigerian chairman, Stadium is there, before it went to Olympic Stadium. The achievement of one of these chairman was able to capture it. Now you choose Balama Mano, Nami, it's only this present one that is not there. Caleb University started to do PhD, when they introduced PhD. I was there as the dean, and the first set of PhD students, I was the one that admitted them to the College of Postgraduate Studies. So the PhD students that we have now graduated because they convocated last year, all of them, I was the one that admitted them. I was there. I saw them as a dream of the PhD school. That also gives me pride and joy. Please don't forget my plaque.
Thank you.
It's bring the camera.
I will switch to the plan. No, let us go after. You will just pick one after. You don't have to talk about them.
Okay. Just pick it out.
The picture. We just
so the award. I was not able to speak to you about my awards. I have 55 awards in taxation. The one that gives me joy out of all of them is the one I got in 2016. The most outstanding African tax administrator. The most outstanding African tax administrator. Got it in 2016. Out of the 55.
At this beautiful junction, I would like to say very big thank you to you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your achievements. Thank you for being there and to stand shoulder high as a successful man in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Professor Olateju. Thank you very much.